This fencer's end of a Favero reel is usually where the problems are. So we're going to take out all the screws out of the clamshell here, open up the clamshell, take the wire out, cut the wire, and now we have the tube. I'm going to put it back onto the wire after we cut off the bad part, slide it up. We have the spring. With the spring, I like to put a small piece of tape around the end where it gets clamped into the clamshell. That helps to keep it from coming loose and sliding around. Just one piece of tape around the end of the spring. Slide it back into place. And then tie a knot in the new piece of wire, including some of the tubing. Put that knot in, pull it nice and tight. Okay, so now this is good new wire. We're going to figure out how long we want this to be by putting it inside the clamshell and guesstimating how long the wire has to be, cutting it off there, stripping back the black insulation on the wiring here, stripping that back so that exposes all the fibers here that help with the pulling on the wire, help to relieve some of the tension. So we're going to cut off those fibers, and we're going to then strip back the insulation on the 3 wires that are inside this fencing reel wire. So strip it back about a 1/4 inch or so. I'm going to strip back all 3 of those, the white, the brown, and the green. Then we're going to twist them off nice and tight. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the socket, the soldering sockets here, clean them off with a wire brush, add a little flux, a little soldering flux onto each one of these pads here, and touch the pad lightly with a soldering iron so we can get the wire out. You could mark the colors if you wanted to beforehand, and then maybe add a little tiny bit more solder to each pad, and then take the wires and solder them back into the same place. I hook mine up to the tester while I'm doing this so I can tell whether or not I'm getting continuity and whether I'm attaching the right wire. But you could just mark the colors and go green, brown, white. Attach them right there. So you can attach all 3 of those. Once those are attached, then you can clean it off with a little alcohol, rub it off, get it nice and clean, try to get all that compound, the flux off of there, and put it back together inside the clamshell. The spring has a little end that goes into a tiny hole there, and hopefully that tape there will help it stay in place. And then there's a retaining clip here that goes over the wire right underneath the nut. Put those 2 screws in, hold that down on top, and then put the rest of the clamshell together. You're going to pull the socket here into place, get the wires out of the way, tuck them in, and then you can close the clamshell up, put the top half on, and close it down on top of everything you've done here, and put all the screws in. All the retaining screws and the screws that hold the clip. Put them all in, tighten them all down. Make sure they're nice and tight. You don't want to crack the plastic, but get them tight so they don't come out while people are fencing. I like to put a rubber band around the end in case somebody lets the thing go, it doesn't crack. And then of course you got to put the clip on. Don't forget the clip. So there you go. So it's all fixed. Put it on a tester just to be sure. Make sure all 3 lines are working. Test it by moving the reel, test it by pulling on the end, and you should be all set, all done.